Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Elsbeth McSorley, and I am the Marketing Manager for Mega North America. And I'm very excited to welcome you all to our webinar today, How to Focus on Business Critical Applications and Enable Business Resiliency. We are thrilled to have you all joining us. Let me just quickly review just one piece of housekeeping information before we jump right in. If you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to enter them in the little questions box on the GoToWebinar dashboard, that side panel. Feel free to enter them throughout the whole presentation, but we will answer them at the end. So we'll save some time for Q&A, and we'll get to those questions at the end. All right, so now I would like to introduce to you your speakers for today. We have Yannick Rudloff. He is the VP and Managing Director of Mega North America. And we have Nicholas Hatfield. He is our pre-sales engineer for Mega North America and will be doing the demo. So I guess with that, without further ado, I would like to hand the presentation over to Yannick.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. So the main idea of the first part of this webinar is to talk about business critical applications, business resiliency, and really to understand how Mega can help achieve all of those goals and how we will be able to set up a methodology that will allow you to do so. And of course, we're going to spend also time in Mega HOPEX today, so the platform that we propose to our customers, to review how very pragmatically we can tackle those issues with Mega HOPEX. So before we get started here, just a couple of words on Mega. So Mega is a global company. We are present all around the globe in 52 countries. We provide solutions for enterprise architecture and GRC, but we are well known for our enterprise architecture tool, Mega HOPEX, and we've been on the market for a long time. We have a long experience with enterprise architecture, so we have a lot of insights to give you when we start projects of enterprise architecture with our customers. We learned a lot, and we have a lot of things to offer. We also are enjoying a good position with analysts who have ranked us leader in Forrester for EA and Gartner for EA2. And recently, we've been awarded a Customer Choice Award for 2020 for EA tool by Gartner. And this is the recognition that we like the most because this comes from our customers who are saying that we are one of the best tool, right, to provide services to the EA team. So today we're going to focus on business critical applications. Business resiliency understands how we are going to manage crises, how we're going to make sure that the EA portfolio, the IT portfolio that we have today in our company will be resilient, and how we will be able to figure out the way we're going to be able to focus on the key applications that are making our business run. So we are going to talk about how to create a baseline today, make sure that you are ready to face a crisis that should happen. So we're going to see there how to inventory IT assets, how to make sure that you keep them up to date, how to monitor obsolescence, how to define standards. All of that would be seen in the first part of this webinar. Then we're going to focus on resiliency. Resiliency means really to understand how to focus on the most important assets for your business. Sometimes we face a crisis, we have to shut down some applications, shut down some technologies, or you have vendors that may not be producing some services to you anymore, and you have to understand the impact, not only on IT, but the impact on the business. And this is exactly how we will be able to help you today to map these applications to the business, to the users, to what value streams, to what products they are going to be able to support, and how we will be able to help you to manage all of that. And the second part is to monitor the IT resiliency as KPIs. You will see that we have a lot of KPIs. Nick today in the demonstration will show you a lot of things on applications, a number of compliant technologies, number of critical applications by incident and so on. So we'll see how to monitor all of that. This will help us to stay in business. And finally, the best idea also when a crisis has happened, you have shown that you are resilient. You have shown that you are able to stay on business with what you have today. But also what is important is to reimagine the way you're going to do business in the future, having learned those lessons from the crisis. And this is where you will be able to reimagine your business, create new capabilities, create new value streams, create new applications, more resilient, more innovative, for you to be able to react more quickly to the next crisis that's going to happen. But this is something that is very, very important for us and that we help our customers to do very, very often. So in this webinar, we will learn how HOPEX can help you to automate data collection, to inventory your IT portfolio, so technologies, applications, servers, business capability, and so on, how they are all connected. We will learn also how we can mitigate risk arising from technology obsolescence. We will learn how to identify applications supporting critical capabilities. This is very important for us. And we will analyze the impact of shutting down maybe non-critical applications or critical applications. What's the impact? How can we graph all of that automatically with HOPEX, and how HOPEX will help you to do that? And we'll build also dashboards focused on resiliency, and we will all see that in a demonstration, of course. Before going there, we just have a small question to ask you, because this is always very interesting for us to learn also about our prospect and customers, to understand what is the main motive for you in your company to manage IT portfolio. So I'm gonna launch a poll right there, right now in the session. So the poll is being distributed right now. I think you should be able to see it. And so the idea is to understand the main motive for managing the IT portfolio in your case. Is it focused on critical application, resiliency, or the cost is too high? Or do you have a lot of technical debt and too much risk on technical debt? Maybe all of the above, maybe none of the above. But definitely this is kind of the trend that we see a lot with our customers. I'm gonna leave that here still for a couple of seconds, 5 to 10 seconds, and then we're gonna see the results. All right, I will close the poll in a couple of seconds now. All right, I think that everybody has answered. All right, let's close it. All right, so definitely the answer that you brought to the poll is on the best choice is all of the above. This is what we see a lot, right? It's sometimes it's not focused on specifically one thing, but it's focused on all of the above. All of the above are on target. But definitely I've seen that also here you have a focus on critical application and technical debt. This also is very, very common factor for us when we start a discussion with our customers. So definitely for us, when we start managing IT portfolio with our customers, often our customers are asking us, when is the right time to focus on managing your IT portfolio? So definitely critical application is very important. You need to free up bandwidth and resources. You need to identify critical application, and there is no clarity on which can be moved in-house or in the cloud. This is very important for us. For instance, you will have a set of applications, set of capabilities. You define by capabilities which are the most critical application or not. And by capabilities, you can then decide which one of the capabilities are so critical that you need to keep them in-house, or which one are less critical and that maybe you can move them to the cloud. This is very important for us, and we will see also today how we can manage all of that. Cost was not an answer that was given today, but it happens many times. So of course, it's on all of the above option too. So definitely the cost is one of the key points we see. In HOPEX, we will manage the cost of the application. We'll manage the ability to understand the maintenance cost of the application and how they will grow in time. We'll be able to identify redundant systems and then save some costs, do a redundancy analysis within our software. And increased complexity, you have acquired a lot of companies, maybe in your company, you have acquired a lot of IT debt coming from multiple ways, and you need to understand this increased complexity in order to reduce the cost. This is very, very common. And finally, the risk on technology, that's mainly the risk of technical debt. Too many vulnerabilities, technology obsolescence can lead to abnormalities for sure. You have acquired technologies that have been on the market for a long time. Sometimes they have new vulnerabilities. Sometimes they have new threats for hacking. So you need to be able to manage them well, and you need to be able to understand which of your applications are reliant on obsolete technology. That's key. And again, we're going to see that today. But we've seen a lot more coming from the market also as reasons to manage application portfolios and technology portfolios. Mainly redundant applications due to merger and acquisition, underperforming at IT systems. With HOPEX, you will see that we can assess application to understand which applications are not performing as well as the business would like them to perform. We will be able to focus on lack of application flexibility. Which application can I remove? Which application can I transform? So there's a lot of things that come into play that we've seen on the market, and do not hesitate to contact us to kind of provide some business cases to perform IT portfolio management, because we have a lot of examples, a lot of things we can share, and we'll be more than happy to help you in your quest to set up an IT portfolio management strategy in your company. So when we talk about Mega, we see a shift right now in the EA markets, and that is quite important for us to note here. EA has been seen a lot by business stakeholders as being a bit sometimes manual, a little bit more too lengthy of a process to perform, a bit too academic. And sometimes, the whole ivory tower, I would say, problem that EA teams had in the past is still perceived a bit there. In Mega, we have changed a couple of years ago completely our way of seeing and how to deliver EA. What we want to do is to have automated processes. So you have less manual data to put in the tool, and more automated data that will be provided automatically from APIs, coming from a CMDB tool, coming from an external tool. Automatically, we gather all of this information to help you achieve fast time to value. This is very important for us. You also, I have also to note that recently in Mega, we've made a big change that we have now services focused on real customer use case and business outcome driven solutions. So you will come to us and say, we have a problem for app rationalization. We need to rationalize our portfolio by 20%. We have a specific outcome driven method to achieve that, with 3 steps that you can achieve very quickly with HOPEX and with Mega. So this is important because what we want to be able to do is to have a measurable ROI quickly and have a quick, fast time to value when we deploy EA. So in Mega, we do multiple things, right? We have a platform called HOPEX. Nick is going to show that platform in a couple of minutes in the demonstration. And what we do is composed of 4 main areas. So today we're going to focus on IT portfolio management, which sits into the enterprise architecture side of this slide. But this is all connected to multiple facets of our platform. We will be able to connect it to business architecture, business processes. We'll be able to map it to risk management, data governance also, so that at the end you have a global vision of everything that happens in your company. And it has a big value to be able to connect your applications, technologies to business architecture, to risk, to data, to have a global point of view on the application. Because measuring the business resiliency of an application is not only through the capabilities to the business, it might also be through the data. What kind of data is managed by this application? Is that data important to me? Yes or no? And this will determine the level of I would say, criticality of the applications that you're going to manage. So very important not to manage only the applications, but to have all the facets that you can manage with your portfolio. And this is quite unique from the HOPEX platform. So we invite you really to look at us when you take into that account when you want to do that project, because this is very important to manage, to have all of these facets present in the platform. This is an example of the dashboard that we can provide with HOPEX. I'm not going to spend too much time on that, but it shows you what kind of graphics we can have. But of course, Nick is going to show that a bit better in the demonstration in a couple of minutes. Very important, we discuss about automating information within the repository. And this is one of the things that is always, I would say, some kind of questions that our customers and prospects have for us. How do you automate data entry within your repository? So I've created in our journey with our customers, we've created a lot of data capture interfaces with our customers. So here you could have data capture from Flexera, from Office, SAP, ServiceNow, Cast. We've worked with all of these tools right there, and mainly what we have now in our solution is that we have the ability to have a REST API that allows you to map it to any kinds of tool in your ecosystem. So at any point, use our REST API, connect it to any tools that you have, CMDB, finance management tool, application tool, business tools, get the data in, and enjoy the nice report that Mega will be able to provide. And finally, the last slide I would like to show you before Nick goes into the demonstration to show you what we're able to do with our platform. I would like to also tell you that Mega has a strong focus on usability. We know that sometimes we have prospects or customers that would like to have more usability on their EA tool, and that we have achieved at Mega. Mega is full web-based, full HTML compliant. You have nothing to install on your PC. It is full web-based. You can use that in SaaS or on-prem, directly connected with a web browser that can be Internet Explorer, Firefox, whatever you have. With HOPEX, we foster collaboration. We have teamwork features, social features, and workflow, because we know that EA and IT portfolio management efforts are not a one-man job. These efforts require a lot of stakeholders within the company. And that we have seen that a lot when we started projects with our customers. You need to have application owners, business analysts, technology owners that are logging into the tool and provide insights on what they have as knowledge that they can provide. So this is very important for us. We foster collaboration with our platform. It's not only and strictly reserved for EAs. And finally, we have a strong focus on simple UX and UI to drive adoption. HOPEX should be used with minimal training. Somebody who is an application owner can connect to HOPEX and directly have access to his application, his technology, and directly be able to work with very minimal training on the tool. So this is what we have for HOPEX, and I'll let Nick right now take us to the demonstration and show us how HOPEX can be used to manage the business resiliency and focus on application criticality. Nick, I'm going to make you a presenter. Let me know when you see the signal.
Yes, thank you for
Perfect.
that. Hopefully you can see my screen.
Yes,
Great.
we can see your screen. You're good to go.
Thank you for the introduction, Yannick. As you can see, I'm already logged into the HOPEX platform here. As Yannick had mentioned, I am just using a web browser to access here. So you can see I am actually using Chrome to access the repository. This is our basic home screen. It's tile-based. It's completely configurable. So if you wanted to move some things around or apply some different tiles, you could absolutely do that, just to really tailor it to your experience. But really today, I want to focus on solving the use cases that Yannick just finished introducing us to. So I've got a couple of folders set up. And really, these are the main use cases that you can see right here that we use to solve for rationalization, technology and business alignment. So when you think about times of forced transformation, if your organization all of a sudden needs to address the problem of remote working for employees for the first time, or even beyond that, establishing a new normal, or really just having that baseline. When you think in terms of this portfolio being a lasting journey, it can really be useful to break it down into specific areas. So the way that we think about it is building out that application inventory, so focusing on your key applications, really understanding the relationship and dependencies between those critical applications and their supporting technologies. So you know what the underpinnings are and what happens if you have a problem there. But then also linking those applications to business capabilities. So when it's time to improve upon a specific capability, you already know which applications are providing a given feature or functionality that is absolutely critical to the success of your business. But also keep in mind that these steps, you're not doing them one at a time. You're often doing all of these things sort of at the same time. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at a portfolio. So I'm just opening up our application portfolio here. And what you have is an inventory. So it's intended to be pretty easy to look at, and you should be able to get very quick information out of this. So I can see that I have some applications that don't have any costs associated with them. So maybe I want to send out a workflow and request an update from that specific individual who knows the cost, who knows all the financials around these applications. You can filter here. It's intended to look a lot like Excel or something like that. So if we just want to view medium business value applications, we can do that. And you can even have a range. So if I want to see all of my good and medium value business value applications, I absolutely have the option to do that. As I mentioned, we provide workflows here. And Yannick did introduce the concept in his slides to get started. So you can request an update to an application for something very specific, like the cost, or maybe there's a specific technology that should be associated with it that's absent. But you can also provide review notes. So this is really useful as far as the architects are building this baseline and they're putting this information into the repository, but anyone can have access to that repository to take part in the conversation. So the idea here is that you should be getting greater adoption out of your EA repository. You should have more individuals actually asking questions and participating in building this repository out. So right here, I have specific review notes about asking a question about why an application is deployed the way that it is. And then beneath that, someone else who might know more about the application can submit an answer. And if you've ever worked with Quora or seen any kind of question and answer forum, this should be very familiar. So whoever asks the question, in this case, it was Michael. Michael can put a green check mark next to Thomas's comment and say that is absolutely, or for now, that is the best answer. And again, this is used, the real value in this is to help you continue that dialogue to capture the conversation around the decision-making process. That's what I wanted to show you for the social features. Let's look at one application. So let's just start analyzing this billing application. As Yannick mentioned, we are a leader in the Gartner Magic Quadrant, and they agree with us when we say that you just want to have a manageable amount of data points that you want to capture. You don't want to have hundreds. 10 to 15 might be the right answer. The idea is it has to be something that you can manage and you can keep up to date, and it's actually providing you the value that you need. So here on our application ID card, this is a decentralized location for these data points. It's all stored in the repository, but we're viewing it here, and we can also make easy edits and changes to the data here as well. So we have information like the name of the application, specific version number, what kind of compute it's using. I'm just going to show you a few other things that are available here as well. We had mentioned that you can connect to business capabilities and business process. So in this step of financial reporting, we know that this billing application is used there. Therefore, if there's an issue with this billing application or any of the technology that supports it, we know that that specific process could be impacted negatively. So here we're gathering data points, and then in just a moment, I'm going to show you how you can automatically generate views on these data points to help you make faster and better decisions. As I mentioned, you can connect to technologies. You can make changes to sent and received data flows. You can also get into the risk of an application. So what is the impact and likelihood of something happening? And then the Gantt is going to show you the application lifecycle. So you can manage the application as it progresses from production, from preparation into production and then to the end of its life. So that's just an example of the data points that you can collect here. But of course, we can report on these. So what we do with these data points that you just saw is we can place them on this graph. So in this first graph, what we have are dependencies between applications. So we can see that we have sent and received data flows between the CRM Europe and this billing application. But you can also see what kind of content is being exchanged as well. So order invoice information, supplier purchase order. We know for certain that this content is being exchanged between these two applications. And we don't have to build out any diagrams or really get into any architecture. Right here, we're just building that baseline of what our current state looks like. That way we know very quickly what these dependencies are and what these relationships, how these relationships actually come together. Again, to use the same example, we know if something were to happen to this European CRM application or this billing application, we could have some significant issues upstream and downstream. You can also get information about deployments. So we have our same billing application, but we also have separate instances in Europe, in Asia, and we have another one down here in the US. So you can also see who's using it. So not only can you see that technology, how are these communicating with each other, but who's actually going to be affected if we have to make a change here. And it doesn't always have to be a negative change because you're forced or there's some kind of outage. Perhaps it's time to introduce a new billing version 2.0 application, and you need to figure out the best way to go about actually deploying that application. Reports like this can absolutely help you with that. And then the final report that I'll show you on this screen right here just shows us the business capabilities, the business lines, the technologies, everything else that was available on our ID card, what those connections actually are. And then in turn, we can report on, when we have the financial data on our billing application, we can get even more meaningful reports such as total cost of ownership by business line. We can evaluate the cost of our applications as it pertains to our business capabilities as well. We provide this feature, this functionality, in order to really help with that IT and business alignment, to help you better rationalize your portfolio, to make more sense of it, and to do so much faster and more efficiently. I had mentioned life cycle, and you'll get that view here, except we take it one step further. So we saw technologies that were connected to this billing application. So we have our billing application, preparation, production, and retirement, 3 stages. But we also have the technological life cycles overlaid as well. So when I have this conflict period, I can just mouse over that and I can see that at the end of the this application's life cycle, I'm actually going to be using an obsolete technology, this .NET Framework 4.0. So it's up to me to decide, is that a risk that I'm willing to take on? Is that acceptable? What a lot of our customers will do is integrate with a third-party tool to bring in those official life cycles. So you have the official life cycle of Microsoft, and they say that this .NET Framework, you need to stop using it at this certain point in time. But you can also take it one step further and establish an unofficial life cycle, and then you can say that this is an acceptable company standard. So therefore, you can have more transparency, and with the collaboration features, just a better narrative about why you're making the decisions that you're making. And then also with the data, the metadata to back it up, since you're only choosing from 10 to 15 of your most important pieces of information and then putting together reports based on that. We have other views available as well. I'm going to show you one last report in our Build the Application Inventory sort of session here. And that's this list of applications. So if you prefer to have something like this, a table to view these relationships, you can have that as well. So we have our application, we can see who's using it, the business process, technology, business capability. But you can take this one step further when it comes to collaboration, and you can add it to a dashboard. Any of these reports can be added to a dashboard, export it to Excel or a Word document or something like that. So depending on how you want to actually share this information, you have the power to do it right here in the platform. So if we go back to our favorites, we're going to close this up. And we're going to look at our business capability heat map. Another very important perspective to us here at Mega is to be able to relate your business capabilities down to the application level. So what we are looking at here, we have our core capabilities indicated by the yellow symbol. So we have 5 of them. And we can go down to different tiers. So if I just want to look at 2 levels or 3 levels, that option is there. And then when I click unfold, so I have capabilities and sub-capabilities, I can then unfold my applications. Here we can see we've got some colors, we've got some shapes, and we have a legend that tells us what exactly we're looking at. So I can see it looks like I have missing data, missing cost information for several different applications. So that's something I might want to launch a workflow or go in and input that information myself. But just looking at this, some of the quick information that we can get is that we have this airport mobile application. So it services this specific capability called customer requests, which is a sub-capability of exchanges. And we can see that we have a high application cost. That's what our red square means. We can see that we're going to have some technological obsolescence in the next 1 year to 24 months. And then the triangle tells us that this is an application that has pretty low business value based on assessments from somebody on the business side. So when we talk about really isolating our business critical application, this capability map is absolutely paramount because you can see what that relationship is. You're getting information from the experts that know these capabilities the best and how they're using these applications. And then when you combine that with more objective pieces of data like the cost and the life cycle of the underpinning technology, you really get a more complete picture of what you have in your repository, how all of these relationships are coming together, which then in turn informs better decision making about what direction you ultimately need to go in. Furthermore, if we want to analyze our applications, we can also view this application obsolescence report. So whenever I click on this, what it's doing is it's scanning my repository and it's looking at these life cycles of applications and technologies. And then it's giving me this accurate picture today of the life cycle of these applications and technologies. So this first table shows me that I have this application that will go into retirement phase in the next floating year. So I've got within 12 months, this is going to be retired. I can see the affected portfolio, business lines, capability, as well as my connected applications. Furthermore, we can think about it the opposite way. So we have this Windows 7 technology, which will become obsolete February 1st, 2021. Here's the applications that are using it today. So we don't have a connected application to this holidays vacancies management, but we can see that this billing application will be affected by that. We know this is a critical application, so there's absolutely some planning that will need to take place beforehand. Finally, we're going to navigate to our dashboard and think about resiliency and think about that new baseline. So now that you've begun to build out this portfolio with all of the most meaningful data points that you can gather, you can put together dashboards like this. So we're looking at the application total cost of ownership. It's broken down in several different ways. All of these reports, you can interact with them, you can draw around. If we look here, we see that we have we have the bar graph on top, but then we also have the table below. So we can see what are our costs, and then how do they actually break out, into the future. We're looking all the way into 2025. Total cost of ownership by business line provides information about which applications are actually being used by a specific business line, and then what is that cost associated. So we can see that we have incomplete data for our airport. So obviously we need to fill that in. We probably have some applications that are missing that data. But our banking and our second industry is complete. So we can see and we can sort of measure what we have and what we're dealing with here. Another great way to manage resiliency is this vendor dependency report on the far right side here. So what we're doing is looking at all of our applications and then looking at the underpinning technology. So what technology is associated. So if I mouse over right here, we see that we have Microsoft. So if these are all applications that are dependent upon Microsoft Azure, for instance, if there's some kind of outage or something that we need to address, maybe we are bringing applications away from the cloud, we want to bring them back on premise, we could click here and get a list of all of these applications that are actually hosted that way. With any of these lists, we can generate something that we call within the platform an instant report. So an instant report, we can gather information from any of those data points that I showed you on the application ID card, and really any other data that's available in the repository if it makes sense to actually make that connection. So we're going to generate two reports here. The first one, we're looking at a pie graph broken down by the SLA level. So you can address the criticality of each individual application and think about it in those terms as critical, serious, or significant. And then we can further break this down. So if we want, let's say we want to move all of our tier 1 applications that are currently hosted on Microsoft Azure on premise, okay, we can create another list of that. Here's all of our critical Azure applications. And this time, let's generate a matrix instead. So this time we'll have a list, and I have selected business process. So now we can see which applications are actually fulfilling a particular business process. So we have this list, we could save it, we could add it to our dashboard. Here's our list of applications that are highly critical using this Azure technology. We want to move them back on premise. How do we go about it? And then we know based on the information, the data points that we already saw, we can start to really investigate further upstream and downstream as far as what's going to be affected, what are these relationships, and then ultimately, what is the best way to go about doing this? So for one final view that I want to share with you, and again, this is an auto render based on data that you would already have input into your repository. Here, we're looking at all of the application exchanges in the repository. So we can see that we have a lot of applications that aren't connected to anything else. Maybe that's true, maybe it's not. It could definitely be worth investigating into a bit more. If we scroll down, we can actually sort by a specific piece of content. So if I just want to see which applications are exchanging billing information or in part billing information. So here we are, we can see it's being exchanged between the CRM Europe and billing, report generation as a part of another application flow. And then if we remove that, we can render this in a 3D graphic. And what I like about this is it just shows you the pockets in a very clear kind of way of which applications are handling the most. So when I start looking around in here, I can see it looks like we've got this report generation application. There's a lot being exchanged, a lot of dependencies. There's our mission critical billing application. And really the big idea here is that we want to use these dashboards and views like this to really be able to manage our resiliency once we have that new baseline in place. But then also in a time of forced transformation where we have to make a drastic change very quickly, I've already got these data points and these renderings available at my fingertips and ready to go. So that was what I had in mind to share with you today. I thank everybody for your attention, and I will turn it back over to Yannick.
Thank you very much, Nick. I'm just going to show my screen one last time to sum up the discussion that we had today, and we're going to take some questions because I've seen that we have some questions on the question box. So today with Nick, we've seen how HOPEX will be able to help you bring visibility in the IT assets, how to understand the link between the technologies and the applications, how to identify critical assets based on their capability, based on their connections with other applications, and how basically really to focus on what are the assets that are the most important for me. So thank you very much for the demonstration, Nick. It was very clear. So thank you very much for that. So regarding questions, we have a couple of questions that I've seen here in the box. I'm just going to take those questions right now, and do not hesitate to ask more questions while I'm answering others. It's very fine. We have a couple of minutes here to answer them. So the first question was about V4. So we actually have two questions. So description is so the question is that when the V4 will be released, and if we're talking about V4. So for our existing customers attending this webinar, so yes, we just switched my version coming from V3 to V4. V4 is available, but we're gonna start the migrations of the V4 platform in September. So that's what is going to be expected for our customers there. So we can connect, we can prepare the migration, but definitely they will be happening in September. So another question was, so is Mega providing business capability templates? So business capabilities, they are not directly provided within HOPEX, but we have a partnership with an association, a company called Business Architecture Guild, and they provide content. And we have a partnership with them, so we can directly import their content within our solution. So definitely business capabilities, you can leverage the business capability maps from the Business Architecture Guild. Another question that we have is, can we import data from Microsoft Excel? So yes, it was not in my list that I had before, but definitely yes, we can import from Excel, from Visio. So those are the tools that we can use. So definitely we can import from that. Another question that I've seen here, so where does the information for the life cycle come from? So I'm assuming that the question pertains to the technology life cycle. So for the application life cycle, definitely that's going to be your information. You will put this information within the tool. And for technology life cycle, we have also a partnership with a company called Flexera Technopedia, and they provide all the life cycles, and we have a standard co-connection with them. So we have this API connecting to Flexera. We gather all the information within our tool with the vendors, the technologies, the life cycle, the versions, and all you have to do is to connect the technologies to the application and to start to do the reporting to HOPEX. That's what we do. All right, and the last question I see here is HOPEX a SaaS application? So HOPEX is both SaaS and on-prem, is available both on SaaS and on-prem. So you can have a SaaS installation, and we will manage the SaaS installation versions and so on automatically. And we can also have HOPEX on-prem deployed on your premises. It depends on the strategy that you want to have, but we propose both solutions. All right, I see no more questions in the question box. So that was. I hope that you enjoyed the webinar. Thank you again for attending this webinar. This was great. This was very great. And Elspeth, do you want to conclude the webinar?
Yes, thank you, Yannick. Again, thank you, Yannick. Thank you, Nick. Excellent presentations. And of course, thank you so much to all of our attendees. We appreciate you spending some time with us today, and we hope you learned something. I will be sending out a recording of this webinar, not just to everyone who attended today, but to all attendees. So a little bit later today, you'll get a link to view this whole recording. And obviously, you can watch it again. Feel free to share it with your colleagues. So with that, I'm going to bring it to a close, and just hope everyone has a great rest of their day, and we look forward to connecting with everyone again soon. Thank you so much, everyone.